Hey, what's happening, guys? What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And I wanted to talk about our kids. I want to talk about our kids and this thing that we do to our children that really could be defined as being abusive. I'm going to explain what it is and how it works and why you shouldn't do it, and a better way to kind of approach the raising of children in a world that is built on keeping our people down. So hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Put something in the comment on the chat, what city you're from, stuff like that. I love to see you guys every day and see what you guys are up to. Hey, Sherry Jordan, Caron Castillo, and Ruby Johnson, and Cutie Pie, the video editor. That's a great name. And Asha Muhammad, and everybody else. All right, so let's talk about this. This is on my brain this morning as I was dealing with my kids, and we're preparing to go back home. And I was literally thinking about this whole weird thing in terms of how we raise our kids when we talk to them about careers. A lot of parents do this wrong. A lot of parents do this in a way that isn't just old-fashioned, but it was never a good idea in the first place. It was never something that now knowing what I know now and knowing what I know as a guy who's been a college professor for almost 30 years now, I would not do this with my kids. I don't do this with my kids. And basically it has to do with what I call preparations for slavery. I always talk about reparations for slavery and why we should get reparations for slavery. But what we do give our children, many of us contribute to this, is what I call preparations for slavery. You prepare your kids for slavery at an early age by basically teaching them that being Black means you got to work yourself to death. You must work yourself into an early grave. You must work yourself so hard that eventually you're just going to die at your desk. And then the white man that you work for is going to replace you in about a week. I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe in that. I believe that there's a better life for us, and I believe that we have the ability to pursue that better life. So let me just kind of break it down like this. First of all, how many of you maybe started working when you were young? How many of you had a job in your 20s, maybe even in your teens? Maybe you worked at McDonald's, Burger King, and then maybe you moved up and got a college degree and then got a job in lower management, middle management, something like that. How many of you have ever had a job and then also dislike that job? How many of you have ever had a job and just kind of felt like, okay, this is not who I am. This is not where I need to be. This is not what I need to be doing. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're in that category. Well, a lot of people are in that category because that's what you were raised to do. You grew up probably or better yet, let me just talk about myself. I grew up thinking that going to work every day was not a good thing. I grew up thinking that your job was something you tolerated so that you can get the money that you needed in order to survive. Now, this is not enough money to make you rich. This is enough money for you to survive. So you're in a way, kind of like a horse. Race horses, they feed them enough hay and give them, decent livable conditions so they can be ready to race, so they can make sure that they can get out there on the track. Or like basketball players in college, they sustain them. They feed them food in the cafeteria and give them a dorm so they can be prepared to get out on the court and go make money for the NCAA. That's what these systems do. And I'm not here really to talk about the systems because this isn't really as much an economic conversation as it is about a spiritual conversation. It's more about happiness. And this thing that, happiness is something that we don't talk much about because a lot of people forget about that. A lot of people are only thinking about survivalism. If you're always in survival mode, it's hard for you to get into prosperity mode. It's hard for you to get into thriving mode. It's hard for you to get into bliss, self-actualization. You can't find self-actualization, blissful self-actualization, if you are just trying to avoid whatever calamity that you're afraid of, if you lose your job, right? So I think that when we talk about raising our kids, we have to be a little more thoughtful about that and say, okay, I'm not going to do to my kids what somebody did to me. Somebody abused you, most likely. Most of you in here were probably abused like me. I don't think the abuser meant to abuse you, but it happened. It's real. It's very real. And basically what they did, the way you were abused by this system, was you were told to make what I call the impossible trade. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about the doctrine of unequal exchange that led to Black people being poor. He talks about Africa and how the Europeans came to Africa and they sold a ton of really valuable stuff, the gold and the diamonds and everything else. And, the white folks pretty much gave them used weapons and scrap metal and, and whatever crap that they had, right? A couple Bibles here and there, right? And we're giving them these really valuable things. Well, the doctrine of unequal exchange applies here as well. You're making the impossible trade. The impossible trade is you're being asked to trade hours of your life for money, for just a little bit of money that'll give you just enough to get by. These are hours of your life. You're going to die one day. So Elaine, I see Elaine Falconer's in there. She says, so true. I think it's the mindset. We definitely need to change it. Yeah. They're asking you, they're saying, here's what I want you to do. I want you to give hours of your life in exchange for money. Now think about that, right? Let's say you work 40 hours a week and you do that for 50 weeks a year. They give you 2 weeks a year for vacation. That's 2,000 hours a year over a decade. That's 20,000 hours. 20,000 hours you dedicated to that job in a decade. So most people work at least 4 decades, sometimes 5. So if you go up to 5 decades, you're talking about almost 100,000 hours. 100,000 hours of life that you've given in exchange for what? Are you leaving some multi-million-dollar legacy, for somebody? Are you leaving some mansions and massive businesses? What are you leaving? What did it do other than just use you up until you just drop dead? Like an old racehorse, when they take them out to the pasture and shoot them because they're too old to race anymore. Right. And so this economic consciousness is really important to instill in young people. And this is not an economic conversation. This is more of a spiritual conversation. This is about those 100,000 hours of life that you have. And really, I want you to process this for a minute. I want you to really think about how much 100,000 hours actually is. Just take 1,000 hours. Imagine if you took 1,000 hours and said, I'm going to spend 1,000 hours with my child this year. I'm going to or in the next 2 years, I'm going to spend 1,000 hours learning all about you, spending time with you, doing things with you, treat it like a full-time job. I'm going to spend 1,000 hours, just 1,000 out of the 100,000. Or what if you took 1,000 hours and put that into learning some new skill? Like you want to be a computer programmer. That's always been something you enjoyed. And you say, I'm going to spend 1,000 hours learning how to program a computer. Or I'm going to spend 1,000 hours going to the gym, right? How fit would you be? How healthy would you be if you could spend 1,000 hours in the gym right now? You'd probably be in much better shape than you are right now. If for most people, they'd be in much, much better shape. So the point of the matter is to say, I just talk about 3,000 hours. Remember, this 100,000 hours they're taking. This is what you could do with 3,000 hours. You could write a whole book. You could write a novel in 1,000 hours. That book you've been wanting to write. There's so many things you can do with that time. And what I'm getting at here is, I want you to be really conscious of that impossible trade. I want you to really think about what is being asked of you. And also when you talk about your children, what are we asking of them? I think it's almost sinful. It's almost sinful. Now, if you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, share button, subscribe button. Please take a moment to do that. We're trying to grow the channel. We can really use your help. I hope that this channel has added value to your life. If it has, then I hope you'll take a moment to hit the thumbs up button. And also, I want to remind you guys, just in terms of something quality of life type stuff, that I really enjoy. I actually answer questions on my Twitch channel where I actually play Call of Duty with my kids. And my son and my daughter both love that game. So we play Call of Duty together, and I answer questions from people in the chat. So if you have questions for me, come there and ask me any question. I love to answer questions about not just investing and stuff like that and money, but because I know a lot about that, of course, but also life. I mean, I've lived life. I'm in OG status now. And I like helping people solve their problems. I like helping people gain a perspective that will help them. And if you're into the gaming thing, I actually have an Instagram page where we talk about stocks and gaming. That's it. That's all we do. So it's the Black Stock Market Gamer. So that's an Instagram page I put together. Don't ask me why I did it. I did it because I just fucking felt like it. And I just thought it would be fun to do. That's what you do when you just don't care. So I did it because it's fun. All right, there's nothing wrong with that. So I know it seems a little bit strange for some people, but that's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm into. That's what I'm having fun with. So let's talk about that trade, the impossible trade again. Let's dig into that a little bit deeper. So you're asking we raise our kids to give 100,000 hours of their life to some corporation. Typically that corporation is run by people who are not black. You're giving in your preparations for slavery, it starts with school. First, you send them to school where they're trained to believe that, stupid things like George Washington is a wonderful guy, even though he raped black women and, enslaved your people. But he's a good guy. He's your hero, right? You never learn about Marcus Garvey. You don't learn about Dr. Claude Anderson. He's too dangerous. They won't bring a Farrakhan to your school, but they'll definitely bring a bunch of white people there so your child can learn how to be an adequate white supremacist. And then in media, you're being trained for slavery because all the music, unfortunately, a lot of the music is really debaucherous music. So if you're a little girl, you got Cardi B teaching you how to sell WAP for $5 a pop. And if you're a guy, you're being told to murder other black men, to disrespect black women at every available opportunity, to throw your money away whenever you can, to go and create babies, mamas, and get STDs, and to do and also to be as ignorant as you can be, right? So those are more preparations for slavery, because people who are not educated don't liberate themselves very well. They're never liberated. All they know how to do is be oppressed. So you're being trained to be oppressed. And you see it all over the internet. You see ignorance everywhere. Give me a yes or no if you've noticed how much ignorance there is online. It's just baffling, and it drives me insane because I have a very high level of education, and I'm very, 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 very analytical. So when I see this, sometimes I just say, boys, don't say anything, because you're going to upset people and you're going to confuse people. You know how Negroes get triggered, so I don't say anything. But I'm sitting here watching this and I'm thinking, no wonder you're in the toilet. No wonder they got you under their thumb. No wonder they're holding you hostage, because you're stupid. Some of y'all are just stupid. Not y'all, not the people that are listening. Not because obviously you're different because you're listening. But I'm just like, why would you not expect to be oppressed? Why would you not expect to be a slave? You spend your whole life growing up dreaming about working for a white person. Like, what is wrong with you, right? So then the preparations for slavery start going to college, where you're trained to go to some big white-owned university and give them $100,000 of your family wealth, right? So you go so deep in debt that you can never get out. Like you'll never be out of debt. Half of all black college graduates never repay their student loans. I want you to keep that stat in mind. Half of all black college graduates financially drown. They never repay their student loans. Many of them die in debt. So that's a trap. That is a huge trap. Doesn't mean college is bad. All of our kids are going to college, but we're very conscious about how much debt they'll have and making sure that debt gets eliminated. We're also very clear about making sure they understand that if you're black, you must have your own business. You must have your own investments. You must own real estate. Don't you dare go out here with $100,000 in student loan debt, working for a white man, renting an apartment, owning no stocks, owning no real estate, and having no business and no other way to feed yourself. You are walking right into the mouth of the lion. Like literally the lion will chew you up and spit you out. And they ain't going to just take your money. They ain't going to just take your money. They'll take your soul. They'll take your happiness. Some of y'all saw the movie Soul, where they show people that were still alive, but their souls were dead, right? There's a lot of people in our community who are in that category. A lot of people, and they don't understand why. They were trained to do this. They were told to do this early, like a little girl being raised to be a prostitute, like you were raised to be a prostitute, some of you, an economic prostitute. So let's keep going. If you want to know sort of the solution of this to the impossible trade, you grow up and give 100,000 hours of your life to a corporation that doesn't care about you, that can fire you at the drop of a hat in exchange for just enough money to get by. That's the impossible trade. Now, what do we do in our household? Our household's a little bit different. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a college professor. Their mother is a college professor, so we think about things very deeply. Their mother works for a university, so she's really into the university system. I'm a little more skeptical of the system because I didn't have a good experience with the university system. She did, and we understand this dynamic, right? That America's built in a funny way. Black women, some of the things that Black women are able to kind of, like, she knows that as a light-skinned Black woman, she was able to kind of get things done a little easier than she would have been if she were, say, a Black man. In fact, at her university, there's only one other Black man on the faculty anywhere on the entire campus, and he's gone through complete hell, like literally complete hell. So basically, we understand these dynamics, and that's what it is. So we learn from each other's perspectives. So what do we say to our kids? Well, when we talk to our kids about careers and all this other stuff and professional choices, first thing we start with is passion. We start with what's going to fucking make you happy. Like, I need you to be happy. I don't care how much, if you got $1 billion in the bank. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Your dad can provide some of that money. Now, I'm the bonus dad, and their dad also, he's smart. He's a smart Black man. He's not into the stupid stuff. He didn't waste all his money. He started buying property when he was young, and now he's doing fine as well. So that's an advantage, right? The fathers matter. People act like fathers don't matter. Get that shit out of your head. Fathers do matter. So they've got 2 fathers, so they're going to be okay. But here's the thing. We talk about, like, what's going to make you happy? And then I say, okay, so you like to play video games. Nothing wrong with that. There's a whole multi-billion-dollar industry in video games. Oh, you like to do makeup? There's nothing wrong with that. Billions of dollars are spent on makeup. Let's go look at SuperScent's website and see how SuperScent is making millions of dollars doing makeup. You have an interest in hair care. Okay, well, then that's a big industry. There's a lot of money being made in hair. You like to dance and you like to perform. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there's this guy, Tyler Perry, and some other people out here that make movies that are doing really well in that space. And you don't have to be a multi-millionaire, but you can make a living at it. And the key common denominator is this. Here's the secret. I want to break this down. Write this down if you want to. The secret is basically saying, okay, find out who the hell you are and what you're passionate at. What you're passionate at is typically what you're going to be good at, because when you're passionate about something, you want to really drill in and get good at it. If you hate engineering and you go to school to become an engineer just because your parents told you to, why would you spend the majority of your life being miserable? Why would you spend the majority of your life around people you don't even want to work with, doing something you don't even enjoy? What are you doing it for? You're doing, that's right. You're doing it so you can get that check. Oh, well, why do you need to do that for the check? Oh, because you don't know how to make money, because nobody ever taught you how to make money. Nobody ever laid a bed for you to have some money, or to at least have some options so that you wouldn't have to torture yourself in order to make ends meet. So what we talk about is, look, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you go to college or not. I'm not going to judge you. But you have to have education, because going to school is not the same as being educated, and being educated is not the same as having knowledge. Those are 3 different things, right? So basically I say, look, as long as you have knowledge and you're educated, whether you go to school or not is totally up to you. But whatever you do, if you go to school, let's figure out what your passion is, and let's try to aim for your passion, because we know you're going to be good at it because you love it. You do it for free. And then let's figure out how you can make money doing what you love. And you don't have to make millions of dollars. So if you love being a dancer, you don't have to make $100 million a year as a dancer. All you gotta do is, the threshold is low. Figure out how to make let's say it's $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Figure out how you can find a life where you're running some small business side hustle or whatever you got to do to earn $4,000 to $5,000 a month, which is very easy to do if you know how to. If you're an entrepreneur, making $4,000, $5,000 a month is easy. If you're not an entrepreneur, it's incredibly hard. If you've only been taught to fill out job applications, it's very, very hard. But if you were trained when you were a child and somebody put you through an entrepreneurship program, okay, here's how you file for an LLC. Here's how you set up your business plan. Here's how you define your product and produce your product. And here's how you market the product to people that you know. So now you sell cupcakes. So every day you get up and you bake cupcakes and you sell, $200 worth of cupcakes that day because you found the market of people that will buy $200 worth of cupcakes per day. Well, 200 times 7 is $1,400 a week. Boom, you're good. You don't have to work for the white man ever again because you sold those 200 cupcakes a day or $200 worth of cupcakes every day saved you. That's it. It's like that basic, right? This whole idea that like I gotta go to like dental school and like sit there and look at people's teeth all day, and I don't even like teeth, or I'm gonna go to medical school for 10 years, or like 4 years of college, 4 years of medical school, and 2 years in my residency. Also, I can figure out how to make 6 figures. Do you know how many people there are with no education at all who learned how to just start a business, who are making 6 figures without going to school? Do you pay attention? Think about this. If you're smart and you do something basic like my $5 a day investing plan, which is free, by the way, it's totally free. I'll put the URL on the screens, theallblackagenda.com. If you go to theallblackagenda.com, that's where it is. If you did something like that, like the $5 a day investing plan for your child, $5 a day, you can't even buy a Popeye's chicken value meal for $5. And you gave your child, $5 a day of investing until they're 25 or 30 years old. Your child will have, I think, about $150,000 to $200,000 in liquid assets to do what they want with when they're in their mid-20s. That means no student loans. That means no struggling on some job that they hate. That means that any business idea they come up with, they can pursue it because they've got capital to work with. And on top of that, if you give them the training on either how to start a business, how to do real estate, or even how to do something as basic as selling stock options, your child can actually earn more money than a master's degree recipient without a master's degree. Like you can literally give your child the equivalent of a master's degree. The reason that some of you who are educated, the reason that you went to school all those years and busted your butt, and I did that. I was in school till I was 31 years old, and I studied 8 to 10 hours a day on most days. I mean, it was ridiculous. The reason we did all that is because we had no assets. The reason we did all that is because we didn't have any options. The reason we did all that is because we weren't taught all the different ways there are to provide for yourself in a way that frees you up to pursue your passion. You see, money is not the end goal in my view. The end goal is actually freedom and happiness. They talk about the inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So if you consider happiness something that you must pursue, then you must have freedom to pursue your happiness. And you have to do this on a daily basis. So you get up in the morning and you say, gosh, I want to pursue my happiness. And then you say, damn, I can't pursue my happiness because I got to go to work. Well, if you got to go to work, then you're not free to pursue your happiness. So chances are you're not going to find happiness that day unless there's happiness somewhere on that, on the floor of that Ford factory that you go to for, 40 hours a week. Which is where you spend the bulk of your life. I mean, process this, right? If you don't prepare your kids, they're going to spend the majority of their life around white supremacists begging them for money. You're preparing your child to be a beggar. And some of y'all got master's degrees and bachelor's degrees and PhDs even. But then unfortunately, in some cases, you become a high paid beggar. I don't know if anybody saw, give me a yes or no. And this is not on any way to be disparaging at all, because I love this guy. But did anybody see that sad situation with Cornel West at Harvard? How Cornel West was being disrespected by Harvard and was basically saying, this ain't right. They're doing this to me. They're not giving me tenure, this, that, and the other. That made me sad because it as much as I love Cornel West, and I know this man personally, I love him to death, but it made me sad because it made him look kind of a little bit weak. My thought is, but you're Cornel West. Like, aren't there a million other things you could be doing other than sitting around those stupid bigots at Harvard University? Like, you could be, you're Cornel West. Like, there's got to be some other things for you to do besides sit around at Harvard. But there's something about being at Harvard that makes him want to be there, which I think is questionable, right? It's nothing special about Harvard. There's just a bunch of highly educated racists. They don't hire black people in many of those departments. Their law school has only tenured, to my knowledge, two black women in the whole 200-something year history of that law school. Now, maybe that's changed. If it's changed in the last decade, There might be 3 or 4, who knows? But literally, out of hundreds of white men, I'm sure they're given tenure to. They've only given at that time. The last time I checked back, now this was many years ago though, and I actually played a part in getting one of them tenured. That's how I know, because I mentioned in the video. Next thing you know, they magically tenured somebody because Obama was appointing somebody to the Supreme Court from Harvard, and they were trying to avoid the racism allegation, which was entirely accurate and entirely true. My point of the matter is to say that, I don't want to raise my kids to be beggars. I don't want to raise them to be, doing things they hate for money. I pay attention to what their passions are, and whatever their passion is, I say, okay, we know what your passion is. We know what you love to do. Now let's understand entrepreneurship well enough that you can understand the business model around what you do. You love football. Well, maybe you probably won't go to the NFL, but let's talk about all the different businesses that can be established that spin off from sports. That's what Black people lost. For example, when we lost the Negro Leagues, we lost a lot of that. People don't understand. You didn't just lose the league. You lost all the thousands of businesses that could be built off a league. Whenever you get, you're gathering hundreds of thousands of fans, you can sell everything from T-shirts to hot dogs to whatever. Like there's a ton of stuff you can that gets sold around the league, sponsorships for corporations, all kinds of stuff that gets built around sort of bringing people together. So the idea is to say, I think that our people, the best move we can make in this generation is to become more economically intelligent and more conscious about our children's happiness and well-being, to the point where we're not just training them to go become slaves for their oppressors. I mean, it's really funny that, it's really crazy that companies didn't want to hire Black people at one time, because Black people are one of the most beneficial assets they've ever owned. And they still own you. They still own you. You're still one of the most beneficial assets that they have ever owned. And many of us are still being trained for ownership. So anyway, that was my thought for today. And I hope that this helps some parents. I felt compelled to make sure I shared this with you because I wanted, because I know for a fact that when I share things like this, there's somebody listening and somebody benefits from it. And also, I forgot, I should mention something we're doing in the Black Business School for free on March 6th. It's Black Experts Weekend, where basically we are working with a small group of people to show you sort of the fundamentals of how people make money from their talent and their skill. And so whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, or you want to be a coach or a consultant, or you want to teach an online class or something like that, it's a free event. The cost is $2.99, but we removed the cost. So you can actually go to blackexpertsweekend.com and register for the event. It's going to be the weekend of March 6th. Feel free to show up and feel free to bring your family. And also, we have some stuff for your kids. So if you have children and you want to give them some financial training, we actually have financial workbooks and flashcards that are really good. Everybody loves that. So you can go to financialworkbooks.com. That's financialworkbooks.com. All right. So I hope that this helped you. It was great talking to you. And I will see you all around. And I'm going to be gaming a little bit later on today. So if you want to come and hang out with me and my son tonight, we usually go on the Twitch channel about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And even if he's not there, I'm there, or sometimes I might be there with my daughter or something like that. But I'm actually kind of loving it. And I love talking to people when they come in and answering questions. And you guys help me. You're teaching me, the gamers are teaching me how to play, and I'm teaching them about the game of life. So at the end of the day, we all become winners because we're all getting better because we're helping each other. So there's my Twitch channel. So feel free to follow and check that out. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. And I hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boy's TV. Here we are.